Today's topic is gonna be on the software YUMI. YUMI is a product from pendrivelinux.com, and is a USB boot drive creator in a sense, and it is used to create a USB drive for multi-boot purposes. So you can you can use it to install software operating system on any system, most system that uses USB drive, and that would depend on the compatibility of that system. Excuse me. Now, to install YUMI is a small file. To install it, you go to the website. The link is gonna be below. You go to the download YUMI file. Now, when you go to pen drive, let's go to the home page. This is where to take you. In order to go to YUMI, you will need to find the multi-boot location, which they usually put on the first page. So you have the universal USB installer, as that's another product of theirs, and then you have the universal multi-boot installer. Now the differences between those is one is only for one operating system, and the YUMI, which is very popular, is very easy to use, and no matter what your level is on in computing, you should be able to use this. And for me, I'm an average computer user. I might know a little bit more than most people, but for most of you that have already searched for this, I'm sure you've known few things about computers, so you should be able to use this with no problem. Even for a newbie, this will work perfectly. You won't have any issues. You just click and go. Now you go to the YUMI page, you go to the download file. Now they always update this as soon as they can. And when I say as soon as they can, you could have up to 3 updates in 1 month. And they do this because of in order to support new operating systems that are coming out. Since Linux distros, there are many distributions out there, and in order to support them, they try to build new codes, actually just renew their code so that it can work with the new operating system. Now, with that said, YUMI is also capable of using unlisted operating system. So if you have an unlisted operating distro and you don't sure what to use, you can also use YUMI for that, because it has a location where you can actually store image files, and it will run it similarly to how a CD would run it if you put it on a CD. And when I say CD, I mean optical drive. So it will be similar to how the optical drive will use it, and it will run it that way. And let's proceed. Now I already have this installed, so we are not going to download, but once you click the download, you just put YUMI. My best advice is putting on your desktop. That's the best option that I know. The reason I say that is it's easier to find, and that's what I have in mind. We click agree. Now once you click the agree to the accept to the agreement, you have this location. Now here we have a place where it says select drive letter to your USB. Now this when you open this, it will show your external drives, all the external drives you have. Now I have a card reader. That is why I have so many letters open. Now the testing for today is gonna be used by we're gonna use my 32 gig flash drive. Now it says 28 here. Everybody knows the reason why it's only 28. After you use it, after a while, you actually lose space. And also when it says 32, it's not usually 32. Some of them are usually for other files that are inside the flash drive. With that said, once you click your flash drive, the rest is just loading everything in. Now, since I've not installed anything on this yet, I will click the format part. This will make sure everything is ready to go. Now, I already formatted in the FAT32. You can do that and continue as you go. But my best option is find an empty flash drive, install it on it, and And since flash drive are very cheap nowadays, you could pick a 4 GB for probably $2, depending on where you look. Click format, and then click what you want to install first. Now there are variety of operating system that this is capable of using, and also variety of softwares that uses boot options such as antiviruses and so forth. Now let's install a simple antivirus program, and one of the ones I have here, I believe, is Acronis. If I have it on file, yes, I do. So we click Acronis and create. Now, since I'm formatting this, we have this question. If you don't if you're already formatted and ready to go, none of this will show up. All it's basically trying to tell you is gonna create a system Linux MBR. So that's a more bootloader, and it will change the name of the label on the flash drive into multi-boot, and that's all it's telling you. And also format it to a 32 FAT32. And we click yes, we agree, and we wait for everything to be done. Now, since it's a software, normally this doesn't take long, but yeah, I will pause the video. You know what? Let's not pause the video. It seems like it's gonna be done faster than I predicted, since it's a software. But for every operating system, this is what it goes through, and the the time it takes, the elapsed time usually depends on the size of the operating system. For example, once I start doing the Ubuntu, if I put Ubuntu on it and the Fedora, it's gonna take a longer time for all this to finish. Now, this is all done while we were talking, while I was talking. I click next, and it asks me if I'm done. If I'm not done, I'll say yes, I want to add more. In this case, yes. So next is in order to show you now, the multi-boot has changed. Now remember, this was named label before. Now it's pronounced multi-boot. And if we open our computer file, and we can see the label has changed its name. And we go to Ubuntu. Now let's install the Ubuntu desktop. So I have the 36 and the 64. I'm going to install the 64, since that's all I have on my all my systems support 64. And the test computer also supports 64, so we can use it on as we test it out. And the same process, you click accept, and then you click create. And I'm going to pause the video while this one loads, since it's going to take a longer time, since we're doing almost a 1 GB file this time. And we should be completing right now. And this process is exact same. And in order to show the versatility of this software, I would like to install Windows also, so that you can see that it can also be used for other operating system other than Linux based. Now, I have not tried using this on Mac operating system due to the fact that I don't use Mac OS. Chances of it's working with a Mac is low. I don't even believe that it probably does, since the whole infrastructure is different, and also due to the fact that you have to go through a bunch of software to actually install Mac OS to a hardware, and it's a painful process, and I don't even try to go through all that. I try to get the best out of my Windows operating machine and also my Linux server. So those are the two operating system I basically switch between. Other than that, I don't use any other operating system. Now, I use different distros with Linux. That's the only way I can say I use multiple operating system, but usually I stick with Ubuntu or Fedora. And some people might argue those are not really the best, but they work best for me. Now we're gonna install Windows 7, and I have where's the one I have? Oh, got it. Here we are. There we go. Now that's Windows 7 software ISO file, and this would take a little longer since it's a 4 GB file. So I will pause the video again and come back once it's done. Now the program has finished installing the Windows 7, and would we like to add more? Yes, and this time I will add Fedora, and it's the same process again and again. It's just you're choosing different operating system. Now I always make sure you have the ISO file before you start. Now if you don't, another thing that is good about the program is it comes with a download link of most of the files. So all you click is download the link. It just asks you yes or no. In this case, we're gonna click no, but if you don't have it, you click yes. It's gonna take you to the home page, download page of the file, and it should do that in this case. And here we have for Fedora, you can have they have the desktop edition, which uses the GNOME file, GNOME for some people out there, but and then the other one is the KDE spin, and this have the KDE uh, desktop phase, and then the other one is LXDE spin, XFCE spin, and then the Mate Compass. And I'm sure some of you have used the Mate before. It's pretty okay to me, but I'm not. I'm still a KDE and GNOME user, and they have other ones that, and for each uh distro they have variety that you can use, and you can always install it based on that. And Yumi will take care of the rest. And for this, we have the GNOME edition, if I'm correct. And I'll go to my ISO, and yes, I have the desktop, which is, yes, as I said, the GNOME. And I click create, and it's gonna take us through that process again. I'm gonna pause the video while it does that and take us back when it's finished. Now, since Fedora is not really a large file, it's actually one of the well, it falls under the distros with the lower amounts of memory space taken. It's already done, and it didn't take too long. Now we click next again. In this case, in this stage, we no longer want to install anymore. So would you like to add more? We click no, and then it will show this page, and it asks you if you finished. Now if you open up the file on the if you open up the flash drive, this is all you see. Now some of them you can edit based on for example, if you're using the password what's it called, off crack. And off crack is used to basically decode password to operating less secure system. It doesn't usually work on encrypted system, but you can actually save tables to the flash drive if you would like. You just have to find where you normally put the sources and so forth. And the next stage is showing you how this program actually looks on an installed system, and that's what we're gonna do next. Set up few exercises for Yumi, basically to show you how the interface looks, and the process in running any of the programs you install on Yumi. That includes the Acronis and operating systems such as Fedora, Ubuntu, and Windows, or any type you end up choosing, and how easy it is to actually configure that on your operating system. Now, for this system is Dell based, and for Dell, the key to press to get to the boot menu is F12. Now, this might be different for any of the operating system you're using. Now, usually F12 is one of the main default, F12 and F11. Now, some custom motherboards such as Asus have F8 as their boot menu configure button. My system is Asus. My main system is Asus based, and it uses F8. Now, those are the main three that I have known of. I've used other other computer hardware such as ThinkPad, HP, and those are the four major ones I've used, and it's usually between one of those three. And you just have to figure out which one it is. If you're not sure, you can always search online and find out what it is. If you still have a few other questions, put your question below. I will try to find you the answer to it. But here we go. And the first process is turning on the plugging in the flash drive. It's already plugged into the system. Now we're gonna hit the F12 to enter the boot menu. Once we reach the boot menu, it's gonna show us all the options we have. Now these have a RAID 5 in it as it shows, but no system is installed on this system yet. It's actually a project in progress. Now, as you can see, the third option is USB device, and that is where we are going to go. Once you click the USB device, you just follow any step that shows up. Now this doesn't have any second step, and you see how quickly it load up the bootloader for YUMI. Now this is the bootloader, and basically you have to press something or else it's going to automatically try to boot into the main system again. Now since we have Acronis, the antivirus menu shows up. Now there are different menus that can show up depending on what you install on it, but we have the Linux distro. I believe the other one is the system what's it called, system images or something like that, system software. But each time you install something, if there's a new menu that needs to show up, it's gonna show up. So the only three we have here is the other operating system. Now the other operating system will be Windows or any other operating system that you have that is not Linux based. Now we're gonna first start with Ubuntu and loading. Oh, actually that was the antivirus. So let's start with the Ubuntu, and all you do is just click on it and it loads up Ubuntu live, just like a optical drive would. Now wait for the system to completely boot. Hopefully my focus is okay for the camera. Now this has a Ethernet connected to it, so we have a network, and some of you that have used Ubuntu before will know sometimes you do have a problem with wireless card, so you might want to find a way to go by that. Usually you can get the drivers online and then download it along as you go. A lot of companies are now supporting Linux operating system for their hardwares, so it's actually nowadays easy to get those things. Now we're going to click English, go to try Ubuntu since we don't want to install. Now you can install this, but we can try it and see how it works as a live CD, and basically you can do everything Linux can Ubuntu can on the live system. Another advantage to having a USB drive is you can take this with you and actually use it as operating system on a hardware, let's say in the library or so. Now they might kick you out for using it, but it's an option. Now another thing that Linux that Yumi can have on is the anonymous web browsing, and there's one called Liberty. If you want, I can put the link to that also below, and that is anonymous browsing. You can use Yumi and basically run that anywhere you go and use it as an anonymous web browser. It doesn't save anything on the hard drive of the computer you're using, but it might have a little cache on the RAM, since the RAM will still be used. But other than that, you don't leave any. You leave barely barely no traces of your activities on the network. So it's the best thing to use when you're on the go, maybe you want to work or anything. There are many numerous use for Yumi, and in this case, I can show you that now you have the terminal. You can run most of the upgrade and so forth. You can run that through the terminal. Because let's try so the app dash get update, and you can basically update the system without even installing it. You can do all that and get all the recent archives and be on the go. Now let's try an honest sudo reboot. We're gonna go to Fedora, and it's exact same process and again, and this is this exercise just to show you the versatility of Yumi. You can use it as any way you want it. I've seen people use it for different in a different manner that I use it. Normally, I just have it. I have a bunch of operating systems that I normally use for my own computer or maybe even a client, and in case I have to do a troubleshoot or anytime. I even have system repair images on file, because there are system repair images such as Ultimate Boot, system repair disk, uh, many different software out there. I even have partition hardware softwares that I use. I even put dban on some on the main one that I use, just in case I have to erase a hard drive. Now dban is a whole new software. I might actually post a video of how to use that. And now this is what happens when you don't press anything. It goes into the main boot, but since I have nothing, it won't boot to anything. So it will go back to the main menu. But for if you have something on your hard drive for it to boot into, that's what's going to boot up. Now for the next test, let's do the antivirus, and I wanted to show you how that one works. The Acronis, there are many different, even the Windows the Microsoft security essential. They have a offline version, and the offline version can be used within Yumi, and you can use it the same way as Acronis is loading at the moment, and scan your hardware without it being running. And now the advantage to that is, without the hard drive running a operating system, it's easier for for any antivirus program to scan and remove most viruses. Now that's because they are inactive. Now inactive viruses don't usually have any way to hide themselves or evade the scan. So the in a way, most of the antivirus softwares work better when you run them offline than when the system is on. Now this is the acronyms. Now the acronyms, most of the antivirus are usually installed on another operating system. In this case, looks like it's a Linux based operating system, and you can do everything from this option. You can update the antivirus. If for example, as you can see, it's already asking me to update. You can update that, and you can scan and remove viruses on the go. And this is exactly how to load it. Let's go to the next operating system, which would be, wanted to show you that it can work for others other than Linux, and the other ones I have available is on the Windows 7 installation disk, and I'm going to show that right now. And I do apologize for the slow boots. This is actually, and the clicking sound. It's an old system using old drives, and it boots. Its boot time is not really the best, but it works for its function. And in this case, we choose other operating system, and it should show us the Windows file, and it runs just like the disk would. And that is one of the what I like about YUMI. You don't have any. It actually loads faster than the disk would, and most of you can actually time this and prove it yourself. When you have a flash drive, it runs faster than the optical drive. We've known this. That's why most of the video games switch to flash files than the optical files. And notice that if you install it into a hard drive, it's actually faster to load than having it on the disk. And that includes operating system. When you have it on a flash drive, it's faster to load, and YUMI is one of the few programs that allows you to do that. Now, Microsoft do have their own flash boot maker, but you only get one operating system on the flash drive. In this case, YUMI gives you multiple operating system on one flash drive, so you can install the Windows that you want to install, or if you want to do a multi-boot, that's the best way to go. You won't be switching back and forth, and you can even put your drivers into the flash drive, since it's still relatively a flash drive. If you put files in a folder, it won't affect the other files, and it will actually keep it until you format it again or make a few changes. Other than that, you will always have those files there, and everything is the same. You can repair the file or install if you want to. And I believe this concludes the show. Now, I wanted to go through Fedora, but it's kind of redundant. It's exact same process as the Ubuntu. Is exactly the same thing. You just have few things different, color differences. Everything else looks the same. If you have any questions, put it down below. I will try my best to answer all the questions you have. And I get a copy. Just try it out. There are multiple uses for YUMI, and I do thank the Pendrive Linux for creating this for supporting this software, and the creators. Much appreciated that you guys created something like this, and I'm looking forward to your updates and even future programs that you guys will be working on. And this is a great tool for anybody that is thinking about doing anything with a computer. If you're gonna be a system builder, if you want to build something for yourself, get YUMI, get a flash drive. It's easier to work with than running a whole bunch of flash drive. I remember when I used to carry a bunch of disks just to install a operating system. nowadays I just carry one flash drive. I don't have to carry a bunch of disks or anything. I can install all the software I want into the flash drive ready to go. I can even put um, the operating system and the drivers. I can put in one flash drive and don't have to worry about it. And it's great tool to have. It's a great tool to have. And try it out. Any questions you have, like I said, put it below. I will try my best to answer most of them. Thank you. Bye bye.